Hello, creative travelers, and welcome back to another Yoga for the Mind session. It's a beautiful, peaceful, half overcast sunny morning here in the Norwegian countryside, and I hope you'd like to spend some time with me. If you've been feeling a little bit heavy lately, or maybe just today, a bit of sadness, a bit of loss, maybe a bit of grief for people or for life itself, this practice is for you. Before we get started, I highly recommend for you to clean your space a little bit. Just declutter a little bit so that you feel like you can breathe in like the closest area to where you're going to be creating. Today we will only be using colored pencils and an ink pen. So let's get started. If you want a bit of guidance for your colors today, I will be personally reaching for ones that tap into this sadness and this gloomy feeling. I want to be choosing colors that acknowledge how I feel, but also colors that are beautiful and that soothe me and that are beautiful to look at. So I combined the sadness feeling with beauty. If you want to know specifically what colors I'm using, just check out the description below. I will link everything I use down there. And yeah, just find colors that soothe you, but that also acknowledge how you're feeling. We are not running away and trying to push away our sadness and our gloominess here. We are here to shine light on it, honor how we feel. Before we get started, we're going to do a quick little breathing exercise just to center ourselves, just to reconnect with our bodies and with our minds a little bit. So take your right hand, put it on your heart, take your left hand, put it on your belly, and we're just going to take 2 to 3 very deep breaths. Now try to let your exhale be a little bit longer than your inhale. And just envision that you're letting go of unnecessary stress, unnecessary thoughts. You're just going to be here with me today. We're just going to do a gentle, heartfelt and comforting practice to soothe our sadness and our gloominess a little bit. So take one more breath. Okay, we're ready. Now, I'm using my Portal of Becoming journal today, simply because this is my little safe haven. I also have a lined version in which I write every morning. This is on the way. You see, I've only have one page, but it's on the way to become my little drawing, journaling, artsy book. And yes, I'm also lighting a candle on a sunny day because this smells heavenly. And the journal and my little candle here, they complement each other. So for me, when I use this journal, when I use my candle, I really signal to my body and to my mind that this little ritual, the thing that I'm doing right now, it's for me. I am anchored in self-love and self-kindness. And so that's what we're focusing on today. So look at your colors. And again, take a deep breath. Just try to tune into how you're feeling. Where might this sadness be coming from? Are there any specific thoughts attached to it? Or is it just a feeling? Is it just something that exists within you that isn't attached to any experience or any thought? It just is. And once you identify kind of where it's coming from or where it might not be coming from, look at your colors and tune into the deepest sadness that you might be feeling. What is the heaviest feeling you have right now, or the heaviest thought that lingers within you? Keep on just breathing deep into your belly, and then pick the color that matches this deepest sadness, this deepest gloominess. And for me, that looks like this very dark blue right here. It's some kind of a navy blue, I think indigo. It's indigo blue. And I'm simply, without thinking about shapes or form or having it to look a certain way, I'm just going to be using my pencil, and I'm going to start gently just moving my pencil on the paper. I'm just going to fill in a part and a piece of this page with my pencil. and just let it cover the page for as much as I like. And whilst I'm doing it, I'm just listening to the sound of my pencil. I am tuning into how it feels to move it around on this soft paper. It feels very gentle, very smooth. I can like move without effort. And some places I might push a little bit harder on the pencil. Other places I keep it more soft. And as I'm doing so, I'm just leaning into this very sadness, gloomy feeling. And I imagine, I visualize that I release that as I put the colors on paper. I am releasing, I am setting the feeling free as I freely draw with my moody color on my paper. Sometimes I might go in a bit of circle. Sometimes it's just straight lines. I try to be consistent with not lifting the pencil up from the paper. I want this continuous movement of just adding the color. But since we have other colors to go as well, I am gently just going to make like a line here where it feels natural for me to end this color. I'm just going to make a soft line. And this is where my darkest, saddest feeling ends. This little corner right here is for that deepest gloominess. But it doesn't have to fill the entire page, you know? It can be a part of me, but it doesn't have to consume me entirely. And I'm just going to fill this in and keep drawing and filling this little section here over and over until I feel this gloominess release a little bit. There we go. And that actually felt very nice. So now you can try to imagine that the deepest, darkest gloominess, it was circling your heart before, maybe it was in your solar plexus, maybe it was deep in your belly. But as we're doing this, you release it, you allow it to come into the light, onto the page, so you acknowledge it, but you also kind of set it free. And so it doesn't have to cloud you this heavily anymore. There we go. I feel good about that. Now I want to return to your colors. Have a gentle look at them. How do they make you feel? Which one is soothing you? Which one is making you feel a little bit lighter? For me, for example, it's my light green right here. Which one is there to acknowledge your feelings? For me, that is the darker, bluer ones. And so I want to continue with like the darker ones for a little bit longer. So I think I'm going to be working on like a gradient. I have my darkest color here. So now I think I want to move on to my green. And as I pick up my green, I again want to see and feel and acknowledge my gloominess. But we're adding a little bit of a bit of warmth. We're adding a little bit of good intentions and a little bit of extra love towards ourselves. So I'm just gonna start filling it in again. I just start filling in with color wherever it feels right to put it. I'm still focused on that gloomy feeling that I have, but I'm sprinkling in a little bit of more positivity, a little bit more warmth, just more of the intention of how I wish to feel. Like, I personally would like to feel a little more calm today, and I'd like to be able to focus on the beautiful things in my life, and this sadness is kind of taking that away from me if I allow it to be in me the entire time. So I'm sprinkling in a bit of that intention of how I'd like to be feeling. And I find this green right here perfect for that, because it's a mix of this dark blue here, but I'm mixing it in with green, light green, because that is the color that soothes me and makes me the happiest. And then it just becomes this beautiful mix. I'm just working on my page here, sometimes pressing a little bit harder, getting out a little bit of that tension, that emotion that is still stuck within us. And we are allowing it to come onto the page. And we're just enjoying, slowly but surely, releasing that gloominess. Sometimes my strokes are straight, sometimes they're curved, sometimes they're in circles. I really try to focus on the movement of what I'm doing, because I personally feel like I can release tension in my arms, in my neck, as I just move my colored pencils around. And it doesn't have to be an even layer at all. Some places are darker, some places you can see the circles that you're making, other places are completely smooth. Just filling it in here. Maybe sometimes the strokes are a bit bigger, releasing a little bit of the tension. Remember, you're allowed to feel everything. Every emotion you have is valid. But it doesn't mean that we need to let it consume us. It doesn't have to take over our entire day. We can let it live and breathe inside of us. We can feel it. And then we can just tell ourselves, you know what, everything is okay. Feeling sad is okay. Having a gloomy day is okay. I'm acknowledging it, but I also allow for the intention that I'd like to feel a bit better later on. I am slowly getting comfortable and feeling good about this little section right here. I feel like I've gotten a nice mix of gloomy feelings and good intentions onto the paper. Remember to take a breath now and then. You are just here with me, just having a peaceful time. We're not here to create a masterpiece. We're not here to make art for other people to see. We are just making art to show ourselves some love. Like so. I like that. That was my little green, gloomy green session right there. Now take a moment to just settle in. How are we feeling right now? Are we feeling a bit more release? Are we feeling a little softer? A little calmer, or is that heaviness still looming over us? Is it still this little knot in our belly or this little cloud in our brain that just doesn't want to let us go? It's like gripping all these feelings that we have. It's gripping our reality, and it's just heavy. If that is the case, I would recommend to take your dark color again and make another section. Choose a little corner right here. and fill it with that same gloomy color. And then go over with your gloomy mixed with good intentions color again in a little section right here. Don't make it as big as it was. We're not giving it as much space and as much attention as before. But if you need another round of this combination right here, by all means, feel free to do so. I am actually feeling a little calmer and I feel ready to choose another color. I will be going back to my blue because I'm still feeling a little sad, but I'm feeling sad in a comforting way. Like right now, I feel like I've made myself seen. I am here for myself. I've shown up for myself. I feel like I've been able to acknowledge how I feel. So the sadness still lingers, but it's open and into the light, and that somehow comforts me. So now I want to choose a little section. I'm going to be coloring it in with this blue. And this section is for the sadness and the gloomy feeling, but focusing on the good that it has made me feel. Like the positive impact it has for me to shine light on it. Does that make sense? I want to praise myself and love myself for allowing myself to feel it. And so I find this blue color right here a beautiful representation of that, because it's no longer this dark grayish kind of blue. I am now more on the like vibrant, peaceful kind of blue. I'm just adding it in there. Maybe I'm making like a little, like a little swirl. I feel like it deserves a nice little swirl right there. And then I just fill it in. And again, I'm just using gentle motions. I'm being relaxed in my shoulders and my hand. Just gently filling it in. And noticing how this very lovely color brings presence into the moment. I am literally coloring in my sadness here, and that makes me feel better. Acknowledging my own emotions helps me release it and feel better. I am making longer curved strokes to feel the flow of the color. Sometimes I'm making shorter strokes, a little bit more aggressive strokes. Sometimes more deeper strokes and longer ones. Really letting that color pop on the paper. If you are hearing some weird sounds, my belly is making hungry ones. My belly is making hungry sounds. Making some circles. I really like that. And remembering to breathe. Just let the breath flow naturally. Deep into the belly. There we go. I think I like that. I'm liking my lines. I'm liking my colors. Okay, so I have 3 colors on the page here, and again, you can just alternate between the colors that you want to be using. Remember kind of what role you've given each color. So for me, the dark blue was really the heaviness. This one was for the heaviness and the gloominess, and really just that sadness I was feeling at the beginning. And my dark green here was a mix of that gloominess and that darkness, but gently introducing a bit of good intentions and how I'd like to feel. And then I used my lighter and happier blue because I'm feeling better for acknowledging how I feel. So the sadness is still there, but I've given it like a brighter color because there is beauty in acknowledging your own emotions. That means I have two colors left. I've got my warm brownish and I've got my lighter green. This is my happy color. I will save this one for last. So now I'm going on to more like this brown one here. I think it's going to represent my neutral place. Like I'm acknowledging my feelings. I'm adding my intentions, my good intentions. And now I'm just going to color in how it feels to be in the in-between. Like I'm not happy or like super excited or anything just yet, but neither do I feel as heavy as I did when we started. And so I'm just gonna color in my neutral baseline, a place that feels gentle and soft and welcoming and comforting, but we're not feeling any specific strong emotions anymore. So that's what this color represents for me. Now, this might, of course, be a completely different color for you. So choose the color that represents this neutral place for you. So I want to add this. Let's see, I think I'm just going to start making it in the center here. And again, gentle lines, gentle strokes, gentle circles. Just fill it in. Make it flow. Maybe you can put a little bit extra effort in just the feeling of making it flow. Like a little bit of bold movements, soft movements. We are not working from tension in our hands and in our arms and in our shoulders. We are making this and coloring this in from flow and softness. And maybe I'm making a bit of a bold line here. Maybe I want it to go like this. And for some reason, I feel like making some bolder strokes. Like I want to loosen up a little. I'm not focusing so much on the small motions anymore. I just really want to put that peace and that presence onto the page, and I feel like it's a bit bolder. The movements are allowed to be a bit bolder, a little bit more intentional, a little bit more like here I am. There we go. I really like this neutral tone because you see it's quite a contrast to the bluish, cooler tones that we already have. This is also not a very dominant color. It's not a very specific color that, you know, is attached to assumptions or specific thoughts or specific emotions. It's just very neutral. And right now, I just want to focus on feeling neutral. The sadness has left me, at least a lot, way more than when I started. And I'm starting to invite in some good intentions and some good vibes for the day, but I'm not entirely ready to feel that. And so this neutral little section here allows me to combine that, to acknowledge both without overthinking or expecting too much of myself. There we go. I like that. I like this neutral phase. I'm allowed to just be me, whatever I'm feeling. Now remember to breathe. Slow, deep breaths. You're just here to be calm. Again, this is not a painting or a piece that is supposed to be seen. This is a piece that guides you from one emotional place to another. We are traveling through emotional worlds for each color that we choose. I think I'm happy with that. I think I also feel like making my edges a little stronger here. I find that very satisfying. There we go. Like so. Yeah, that feels really nice. I like that. Then I have one color left. And this is, I have chosen this green color right here. Wait, let me adjust some lighting situation here. This is my comfort color. This is my happy color. When I look at this, I just feel this excitement to feel a bit better. And to, yeah, enter the day a little bit more, with a bit more, I'm not the biggest fan of positive, but a bit more lighthearted, let's say. I enter the day I enter the day with a bit more lighthearted feelings and intentions when I start painting or drawing with this pencil. So I'm curious to hear what your comfort color is in this case. What is your comfort color today? I'd love to hear in the comments below which colors you chose for each section. Which color represented your darkest, deepest, gloomiest self? Which color invited both feelings? So invited the gloominess, but also invited a bit more positive intentions, which for me was this green one right here. And which color did you use to represent your sadness and your gloominess, but also the good feelings that came with acknowledging it, which for me was this one? And what color did you choose for your neutral base? What color represented just being in the present and not overthinking, just letting emotions exist as they were? For me, it was this brown one right here. And now I'm ending this little color section here with my happy color, the one that really like lights me up and makes me feel better when I look at it. Now we have one little task more to do before we go, because now we have all these beautiful colorful sections. And I personally like to combine color with words. I feel like the words are enhanced, the words are giving more power and more, more, what should I call it? More depth. The words receive more depth when we combine it with color, and when we combine color with words, then I feel like the color stands out more, like the representation of what they mean, they stand out for. So it's like this beautiful color, it's this beautiful combination of two different ways to express yourself artistically, combined together, create a more intense and meaningful experience. But that's just my humble opinion. Getting in my green here. I love how fresh it is. I love how bright it is. And I'm just thinking like this is the color that I want to bring into my day, or maybe even if it's evening for you or midday for you, this is the color that I want to remember in my dreams, or that I want to enter my evening with. Just think about color. Think about color as a way to truly express yourself, but not just when you're actually making the colors, but like describe how you're feeling in color in your own mind. I find that to be a very soothing little practice. Like right now I'm feeling anger, so I'm envisioning this intense red, for example. Or again with the gloominess color, when I feel very gloomy, I always tend to go towards blue colors. So if you feel, if this sadness, if this intense gloominess is showing up, envision this intense blue color for yourself, or of course your color of choice, and just let your gloominess or your strong emotion be soaked up by this color that we are envisioning. I hope any of this makes sense, but I'm just literally trying to describe how I like to go about things when I feel certain strong emotions. There we go, there we go, there we go. So let me set up the camera a little bit different here, and then we're gonna do our last little acknowledgement of today's gloominess. We have a little prompt left to do. Let's put that as like a cherry on top, shall we? So we got our little page with beautiful colors. Mine looks like this. These are my colors, these are my swirls. I also think there's a long hair hanging from my microphone over the... Let's do something about that. But yeah, I got my colors. And so the last thing I'd like for us to do is write 5 affirmations, because we got 5, or I got 5 sections. Maybe you have 6 sections, or maybe you have 4 sections. It depends on how many colors you chose at the beginning. But based on the amount of colors that we chose, I want you to write an affirmation for each color and what they represent. So for example, for me, this dark gloomy color, this dark blue one right here, represented the dark and the heaviness and the gloominess that I started out with. And so I can, for example, write, I am allowed to feel how I feel, or my feelings are valid. Something in the lines of that. And then we have our in-between color, which acknowledges and still shows us and honors the dark and the gloominess, but we try to combine it with a bit of intention of how we'd like to feel today. So you can write something like, I feel sad today, but I invite light in, for example. Then we have our positively gloomy color. Can I call it that? The color that where we acknowledge our sadness and our gloominess, but we do so from a perspective of being proud for acknowledging it, like we have allowed ourselves to feel it and to see it and shine light on it. So on this one, you can, for example, write, I am proud of acknowledging how I feel. It's an act of self-love, putting our emotions out there, allowing ourselves to feel them. It is hard in a world that is getting increasingly more disconnected and cold, and it's hard to find the right people, and it's hard to see the color in things because there's so much darkness and suffering that is kind of being pushed upon us in everyday life through social media, through news. And so that you manage to take a moment to allow yourself to feel those things, that's actually a really beautiful thing. So I am proud of myself for acknowledging my own emotions. Then we have our little neutral place right here. And this one can simply be like, I am present, or I am here and I am now. Just acknowledge the present, where you don't have to feel anything strongly specifically. You're just here. And right now, everything is fine. And then for our last one, our happy color, at least for me, this is my happy color. I will write something like, today is going to be a good day, or I am inviting in a good day. Something in the lines of you are releasing the gloominess, you are opening yourself up to feeling better. It doesn't mean that it'll work. Like if you after this session still feel gloomy and still feel a bit sad, that is completely valid as well. Then you can do this practice again, or you can just remember how it made you feel and picture your day in colors to keep on shining light and acknowledging it. I'm not going to be talking anymore for today. We're going to end it here, and I'm just going to put on some beautiful music. If you'd like to share what you created, you can use the hashtag #ATravelerOfWorlds, and then I can see it. I can share it if you'd like. I'd love to see what you were up to, but also, of course, this is a very personal journey, so if you don't want to share it, don't do that. Remember, we have a very kind and comforting and creative Discord community with amazing people that will welcome you with open arms. So if that sounds nice, the link is in the description. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me today. I will see you in the next one. Remember, you are loved, you are beautiful, you are worthy of all the good things coming your way. All your feelings are valid. Let's feel, let's create, let's grow together. See you in the next one.